Maud's mood changed again after the less than pleasant talk with Roger the rampant serial killer. Cassandra assumed after her companion's sudden concern about mentioning Baxter that he must have had something to do with her death. She knew Maud still couldn't tell her anything about who he was or if he was dangerous, which made Cassandra question her decision to find him. Words hadn't been exchanged between the two for quite some time, and doubt was slowly beginning to grow stronger within Cassandra's mind. Just before she had the chance to open her mouth, the long and daunting silence was finally broken. "How did you know?" Maud asked softly. "About Baxter?" Cassandra swallowed thickly. She had no idea how Maud would react to her going through her things. Slowly reaching into the pocket of the dress, she pulled out the folded piece of paper and handed it to her. She watched as Maud caressed it gently with her thumb, as if she was recalling a memory from her past, a smile slowly creeping over her face as she did so. "I'm sorry I never mentioned it, but I knew you wouldn't be able to tell me anything about it," Cassandra replied. Maud suddenly stopped walking, peering down at the piece of parchment in her hands. She sighed softly as tears were beginning to form in her eyes. "This was a bad idea," she whispered, just loud enough so Cassandra could hear. There was clearly more to this story than Cassandra could ever imagine. She quickly tried to claw together the words to reply, but they were lost, and after a few seconds of silence, Maud lifted her delicate fingers just as she had done before, and within a matter of seconds they were both back in Cassandra's apartment. "Maud, what have you done?" Cassandra said, visibly confused. As much as she appreciated the break from the corset crushing her ribs, she knew she was getting closer to helping Maud out of her current situation. "This was a mistake," she replied, turning her back to her. "What do you mean? We were just getting started. I think I have a real chance to help you, Maud. If I can just talk to Baxter, we can sort all this out." "Stop!" Maud snapped, turning round to face her. "Stop saying his name." "Why? What are you so afraid of? If there's something you don't want me knowing, you're going to be stuck here, alone, forever," Cassandra reminded her. "So be it. I thought I was ready to face this, but clearly I'm not," Maud replied softly. Cassandra couldn't believe what she was hearing. She watched as the antlered being strolled to the other side of the living room, with her arms folded and a look of regret on her face. She knew it'd take some time to convince Maud to change her mind so the plan could continue. Racking her brain, she finally thought of a question she could actually answer, to take her thoughts off the Baxter situation. "When we first met, Maud, how did you get here? Surely you can't just pick and choose when you come in and out of the living world." Maud turned hesitantly, and thought about the question as she watched Cassandra sit down on the rug in the middle of the room waiting for her explanation. "I'm able to come from my world when a soul leaves yours. I then have to choose an individual to be bound to during my time here. So you picked me. That's why I'm the only one who can see and hear you, right?" Cassandra asked. "Yes. I'm practically a ghost to everyone except you." Determined to keep the conversation flowing as long as she could to ease Maud's mind, the questions kept flowing. "So do you have like a time limit on how long you can stay here?" "Not really. It's pretty much until you complete what I asked of you, or if you state you don't want me around any longer." Maud paused and turned once again as an idea had begun to surface. "Well, I guess you're stuck here then, because I'm not going to let you leave until I solve this mystery," Cassandra replied smugly. The innocent promises and offers of help made it sound like she was in a prison. Maud knew her sudden idea was awful, but at that moment she believed it was what she needed. She wandered over to the glass cabinet in the corner of the room, Cassandra watching as she did so. She looked at the photo frame, which was at the forefront of the many trinkets collected over the years. Displayed in the frame was a picture of Catherine. "You shouldn't have had to lose her for me to come here," Maud said coldly. "I hope you can forgive me. I had no other options." Cassandra's proud grin soon disappeared and was replaced with a look of confusion. "What are you talking about?" she asked. Fearing there was going to be a scene caused within the apartment, Maud quickly lifted her hand again, not wanting to take any chances. This time when she worked her magic there was no cobbled streets. They were still in the present day, but far away from anyone who could hear Cassandra. It was an old dark room, and looked as if it hadn't been used for years, decades even. Observing the room, Cassandra knew exactly where they were by the view from the hole in the side of the structure where a window had once been. It was the farmhouse at the end of the dirt road where the pair had met. It hadn't been used for years after it was deemed unsafe, and the owners at the time didn't have the money to sort it, so it was left abandoned. The floor creaked as Cassandra turned to look at Maud. As I said, I needed a soul to leave the world before I could enter. Your mother was already close to death. I merely needed to speed up the process, Maud said, her voice echoing round the empty room. Cassandra shifted away from her slowly. No, you didn't. Yes, I'm sorry. But at least her suffering ended sooner rather than later. The words that were spoken tore the trust the pair had built and replaced it with anger. They both considered themselves lucky at that moment that pain could be conflicted and felt between them, as Cassandra viciously grabbed the top of Maud's tattered outfit, demanding answers she knew she couldn't respond to. In her mind, she believed Cassandra was asking the questions, hoping she would give in, and the greater beings watching her would rip her to pieces. With that thought wedged into Maud's mind, she was first to strike the face of the other. Her clenched fist colliding with the side of Cassandra's face caused her to stumble backwards. As she fell to the floor, Maud noticed the graze on her companion's cheek caused by her antlers earlier began to bleed, which frightened her. She tried to keep her composure, as she was adamant to stick to her plan. You clearly don't want me here. Say it, loud and clear, so they can hear you, Maud said breathlessly, as she watched Cassandra wipe the blood from her face with her sleeve and return to her feet. She was bearing a smile, which Maud was not expecting. You are staying here. No matter how much you hurt me, no matter how much I hurt you, you are staying here until I find out how you died. Maud duplicated Cassandra's attempts to threaten her by grabbing her clothes, although this time Maud had a firm grip on her opponent, pushing her over to the wall with the large hole in the brickwork. As the pair reached the end of the flooring, Cassandra felt the wood beneath her feet disappear, her toes barely remaining on the wooden panels as the rest of her body hung out the side of the building. Maud held her firmly with her fist and waited for the words she wanted to hear. It was a considerable drop to the ground, which was mainly stone, rotting pieces of fence post and barbed wire which had once been used to keep livestock in the surrounding fields. Maud, Cassandra shuddered. Maud, please. Maud loosened her grip on Cassandra's jumper as a warning. Tell them you don't want me here. Say it! She looked defeated. She knew deep down, no matter how much she begged, no matter how much she pleaded, Cassandra wasn't going to let her go. You're angry. I killed your mother. Why won't you send me back? I am angry, Maud. I'm angry because you're lying. You're a liar. You didn't kill my mother. She died and you saw your opportunity. We're too similar for you to think you can lie to my face. Blinking back tears, Maud bit her lip as she choked on her words, increasing her grip on the fabric of the jumper once again. She felt skin beneath the material and could see Cassandra's pain as she nipped her chest in her vicious grasp. Baxter won't give you the full story. He only saw the good in me. He was the only person I trusted. Cassandra's eyes widened at the words flowing freely from Maud's mouth. She was breaking her own rules. Her anger and sadness was consuming her. Maud, stop. Stop, Cassandra begged, as she watched tears stream down Maud's face. But her words weren't enough to stop the confession. I was in love with him. I loved him. As those words spilled, there was silence, pure silence. It was as if the world around them stood still. Cassandra saw the look of defeat on Maud's face, and it made her think of how she must have looked to her mother, vulnerable and hopeless. Don't cry for me, my darling. Just let me hear you sing. We'll be together one day. The waves will take us away. Maud's breath hitched suddenly at the song Cassandra was chiming. She knew it well. drift away into the streams, together in the land of our dreams. Maud managed a weak smile, but before she had the chance to speak or bring Cassandra forward onto the floor of the farmhouse, they flinched as the pair felt an invisible object glide between them with a haunting slash. Cassandra gasped in horror as Maud's hand, the only thing keeping her from falling to the ground below, had been cut from her body, sending her plummeting to the debris beneath them.